You guys, I'm gonna put the dogs out. Come on, guys.
Who let the dogs out? Hi, everybody. Hello. How's it going? Welcome to Huddle Time with Ronit. It's so good to be here. It's been a whole full week, so I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. I missed you. I feel like that whole week where we used to be Wednesday and Friday it's a lot, right? It's like a whole week. So I hope you guys are doing all good as you're coming in the show. I love to see how you're doing. What's new? How is it being back to work for some of you who are back to work, and some of you who are still waiting to fiddle in? Some of you are hearing some other things going on. I'd love to hear from you. It is 3 o'clock right here in Seattle, and it is 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So you guys are 8 o'clock in the Northeast, and 7 o'clock right back in Chicago. So tune right in. I'm so excited. We have a great guest today. I'm so super stoked. She has been a dream of mine for many years to be part of her education. So I can't wait to share. But just before that, hey, Bill, how are you? So good to see you. Hi, Andrea. So good to see you as you guys are all coming in. We are so super excited for the next few weeks. We have a lot of great guests. And so we are even going to enhance it a little bit with Instagram, with IG live within the next couple of weeks. And we are also going to be at 1 p.m. on Monday, because it seems like most of us are hanging at 1 p.m. on social media. So we're going to try that too and see how it goes and how many of you can be here. Have fun cutting hair, huh? Well, I just cut my hair by myself for the first time in my whole entire career. I've always told everybody, don't cut your hair by yourself, but I did it because I went crazy and I couldn't see my hairdresser. So here we go. Bill, you're at 8 p.m. Yes, so you're Eastern. So good to see you. All right, so welcome to Huddle Time with Ronit. I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. And as you know, we bring you, and you join me at Huddle Time, and we bring you each week together experts, inspirations. We give you a lot of business successes, experience, and stories, and how people are excelling and how many times we don't excel. We have a lot of oops in this industry. And for the whole beauty professionals, whether you're a hairdresser, whether you're a stylist, whether you're a cosmetologist, whether you're a brand, you're a manufacturer, it doesn't matter. Whether you're a salon owner, we are here to serve you, to share with you all the great tips of so many experts in this industry and outside the industry. Next week, by the way, we're going to have LaShawn here, who she is extraordinary money coach, very smart. She's going to share with us so many great ahas of how to multiply your income. Yeah, how to multiply your income. And what does that mean? That means that, there is a threshold for how much we can create in one day in services, but then how can we reinvest and where should we reinvest? So she'll be here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week, or 1 p.m. Please check and we'll see when it's coming. So, and if you have any questions and as you're coming in, I'm waiting for everybody to come in a little bit. If you have any questions or any comments today, would love to have you guys. Let me know where you're from right here in the comment. Are you from Chicago? Where are you from? It'll be really great to know. So I'd like to welcome our guest, a very special guest. She, like I said, she has been a dream for me. I've always, when I'm a colorist first and a stylist second, and I've always wanted to try this magnificent hairdressing, and I was always afraid of it. So it has been a goal for me and a dream for me to actually learn from the best. Okay. And my guest, Vivienne McKender, is is an amazing educator. She's really literally dedicated her whole entire career for education, to educate us, to teach us. And I can't even tell you how amazing it was for me for the first time to actually see her in real life. And I always thought it was going to be amazing, but it was even more so. She's the founder and CEO of Hair Designer TV, which you probably heard of, which is her own station of educating and teaching. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk a lot about all the programs and the learning that we can all enhance ourselves, which is coming up. But she's an extraordinary educator and has dedicated herself to this industry and education. Her newest video is the ponytail story, which I can't wait to share with you all about that. She is a beauty. She is also has produced and directed, I'm pretty sure, right, Vivienne? Produced and directed the video series, which are a bit of video series, complete video series movies. I think they're like about 10 years old, but I just watched them about a week ago after we spoke, and I got so inspired, and all I wanted to do is go do hair in conferences all over again. So welcome, Vivienne. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Ronit, for allowing me to be here. I'm looking forward to this evening to share some really great information. And the film series you're talking about is called I'm Not Just a Hairdresser.
Yes, I'm not just a hairdresser. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
I'm too excited and too verklempt to have you on this show, because I know how much of inspiration this is going to be for everybody. So how are you today? What have you been doing at COVID-19? What did you do most of the time?
Actually, it was an opportunity, like most, to do the reset button. And because I've been in this digital space for now 18 years, it was a chance for me to look at reinventing my business. And so I hunkered down. I have a big barn that is converted into a studio, and I'm living here in the Hamptons. And I came down to my barn, which usually has, more people, has people. And when I film, I have, a production crew. So I'm not used to doing everything by myself. But I came in here and webinars and just reaching out to people to connect. And my goal was to inspire and to motivate. And I decided also during that time to reinvent myself in a different way. And I started to explore color. So I started to reach out to some iconic colorists, and we did my tutorials online in front of everybody. And so it's been very, very interesting. So I was averaging 15, 18-hour days, 7 days a week. So I've now that everyone is starting to return to their salon life, I'm now going to start shifting into another direction. So yes, during that time, I worked harder than I think I've ever worked before. And I've worked hard in my career.
It's amazing. We all work. I feel like everybody that I spoke to said the same thing. We all work harder.
Yes.
It's funny. Why do you think we all worked harder?
Well, the climate changed, and the hairdressing audience was captive in their own home, and it was an opportunity to reach and connect. And I think for some hairdressers, and I'm sure many who are watching this evening, saw it as an amazing opportunity to invest in themselves and in their education, so that when they go back to the salon, they are armed and dangerous with new information. And that's very, very powerful. Some obviously did not do that, but those who hunkered down and took the opportunity of all the free education that was offered from all the major companies, that rub-off effect will pay back dividends, and you won't go back feeling rusty. You'll go back feeling super empowered.
Yeah, it's amazing. I feel like many times also, and I don't know if you felt the same way, it made you feel like, wait a second, this is a the greatest pause that we've ever incarnated. And in 2008, even though we had a down economy, we did not stop. We actually worked harder in the down economy.
Yeah.
But here we came to a complete halt, right? A complete halt. They say that the business, every business came to a complete halt. And I felt like as much as it came to a complete halt, there was some sort of relaxation about it, some sort of profound feeling of reevaluating of what are we doing here and why are we working so hard? And did you get the same feeling?
Oh, well, yeah, definitely. But I think in a crisis, there's also opportunity. And I don't know whether it's a comfort to know that the entire world was in the same situation. So there's an empathy and a unity, because even in war, when one side's fighting against the other, there is that sense of unity, but that is A against B. But when you're fighting an invisible force, and you're warring with an energy field, an energy that you cannot see, what brings to my mind is the power of what energy is. And if you studied quantum physics, if you are aware of the energy fields that are around us, think about how with intention, you can shift your energy and create the future that you want, because the energy is so powerful in our thought process, which is nothing more than an energy field. So I think tonight's conversation is going to be about tools to give you something to take away that you can use and apply, and hopefully take your game to another level, because we're in the business of selling happiness. And right now in a salon environment where you're masked and shielded and not the most comfortable, that's a very tough call, and it's going to separate the good from the great. Mm-hmm. It's going to separate a lot of people, and my heart goes out to every single one of you, because anytime I'm wearing a mask, I know I just can't wait to rip it off my face, because it's hard to breathe. And so I think that it's yes. So we know that that's going to happen, but we also do know that great things will come out of this, and I think we all in the world in some way appreciated that pause, because the world was going so fast. And I hope that we can all as a collective learn from this and take our best self forward to shape a better tomorrow than we have currently.
Absolutely. And I'm totally agreeing. From every time there has been some sort of recession or crisis, big companies or small companies are immersed and innovation comes. So it's so nice that we actually had the opportunity to think about innovation, to try something. So I'm excited that we're going to share with everybody tools of not how only, like Vivienne said, to take with you, but how to reset your future, how to think about, doing things in a different way. So you're not working for work, but work is working for you, more of that. So I'm excited. Now, you started your career in London.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you started a career in London, you finished school. Did you go to Vidal Sassoon school or a different school, and then you worked for Vidal?
No, I when I left my formal school, I went to the London College of Fashion. And there I did a 2-year degree program in hair that was specialized towards film and theater. So I have a background in wig making. I was trained as a barber, and I was deeply entrenched in the history of hair, because anyone who works in any of those film, fashion, theater, television, you really have to know your history. So that if the storyline is 1700s meets 1950s, and that's the inspiration for this designer, you have to be well researched to be able to understand those periods of time. And of course, when I studied it, there wasn't Google didn't exist, so you couldn't just quickly Google something and find out. So you had to really be. When I was with Trevor Sorby, I was developing his academy program, and I felt back then it was really important to understand the history of hair. And I got permission to go into the archives of Vogue, and I got permission to go into the archives of the Hairdresser's Journal. And the Hairdressers Journal in the UK was founded in the mid 1800s. And it was so interesting because in the journal, because it was obviously for men's grooming, for barbering, women did not go out in public to have their hair done. It was done by their maids, or they did it themselves, or grandma did it, or mother did their hair. There wasn't a formal salon. That was considered very improper. So the Hairdressers Journal had so many medicinal remedies, and it was more medical, I would say, on the sort of lighter side of medical than it was about hair. And it was different tonics for your liver. And it was so interesting. So I was there in these archives researching and looking at all these different periods of time and looking at, I mean, I wish I had access to that information now, but it was an amazing journey. I spent 3 months researching, and actually on Hair Designer TV, I have a movie which is called 100 Years in Hairdressing. And the first footage is actually 1915, and it's the first kiss ever caught on camera.
Oh, wow. Wow. Tell me a little bit about Hair Designer TV. I want to satisfy curiosity here. I'm sure everybody wants to know about it because I think it's brilliant. I think you were the first one who actually ventured out from physical learning into digital learning.
Yes. Well, I felt there was such a need for virtual education because while I've spent my career traveling around the world, educating, whether it be shows, seminars, and the different things that I've done, I always felt like when the lights go out, what will someone really take back to the salon and what will they really be able to use? And if they have a question, where do they go? Because there's only so much you can absorb when you're watching a show or in a workshop. And I thought, wow, it would be so amazing to have a platform that could deliver into their salon space. So I went off on this quest, and of course, phones were still dial-up. Phones were still attached to the wall. We didn't even have a portable phone. And I thought, well, it would be just amazing to do that. So technology wasn't obviously where it is today. There was no MySpace. There was no Facebook. There was no YouTube. And so I didn't have a platform to follow. So I just used my imagination. And then I dreamt up one day that I wanted to create a tablet. And I called it a tablet, actually. And this was before the iPad. And I found a company that could make these tablets and put my information into it. So I thought, wow, I'll have to find an investor and then I will sell the tablet to the salon. And then 2 years later, and I didn't do it because I didn't have the finances for it. And 2 years later, Steve Jobs came up with the iPad. So thank goodness I didn't do it. But Hair Designer TV now boasts of almost 1,000 videos. We're almost at 1,000. And it is a platform of cut, color, mentorship, salon training systems. It is a place of inspiration, of creativity. So I have libraries in there. So if you want to learn editorial styling, I have that. If you want, all my haircuts are categorized short, medium, long. The razor, the scissors, and I'm a very practical person. And I'm very sensitive to time. And because that's the only non-negotiable in our lives. I mean, we're all given the same measure of 24 hours in a day. And I think when you squander time, financially, that can be very costly. And stress-wise, it's very costly. So one of my things that I really emphasize is to teach you a very sensible, logical system of cutting that you can recreate. And obviously I come from Vidal Sassoons, that's my background. I was an art director there, and I've come from a very, very strong technical background. And tonight, as we dive into our subject, what's going to be most interesting for you to see is that I'm going to put technique at the bottom of the list for a very specific reason tonight. My site has a lot of education, so please do dive into it. And actually, if we go to the screen for a second, I can just show people where they can go. Can we?
Wonderful. Let's do that.
I believe we can.
Here we go.
And we go here. So this is my Facebook page, which is Hairdressers Create with Vivienne McKinder. So you can go there, and we have some really great activities that take place there. But this is where you can take a screen capture of this and go to hairdesignertv.com/ABS, American Beauty Show. And you can sign up for a video, which is part of the narrative that we're going to go into tonight. So I think you'll really, really enjoy that. So take that screen capture, and then we can move on.
Thank you so much. I mean, Vivienne has been really designing this specific for all the audience that are at ABS. So it's so generous, and I thank you for this. Myself and my husband, what we do is we teach also digitals, and we record a lot of courses, and we build all of our academy online. So I know how hard it is to design, to film, to edit, and come up with such an extraordinary teaching that not only showing, but engaging. So how is it helpful in such a way that people can actually feel that they're hands-on all of these learning? Because hairdressing is not easy. It's not.
No, it's not. But I think that good education is not skipping around the place. I think that it has to be in building blocks, and it has to have structure, because from the structure you build from one victory to the next victory. And I believe you've got to learn the rules before you break those rules. And I'm certainly a rebel, but I do respect the discipline of the fundamentals. And I also know that when you learn from masters, which I have done, that's the beauty of being around people who are better than yourself. It rubs off in some shape or form, because human behavior is contagious. Right. So I think it's very important to get into a focused area of learning and embrace lifelong learning, so that you block out some time for your artist date with yourself and be able to say, 10 o'clock on a Monday is my sacred time. So for example, every Monday we do a live event for my members, and we have members following along with what I'm demonstrating, and it's live. And so that's a way of engaging. So whether that's that one date, and we're doing that throughout the year, so you multiply that time, there is a compound effect that's absolutely powerful. So it's, successful people have a different approach from people who are less successful.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about success, Vivienne. What do you think takes to be really successful as a hairdresser, as a business owner? We talked a lot about that, I think, a couple of times. And I feel like there's a little bit of a gap in that between the younger generation to the baby boomers, or a little bit of the older generation. We work hard. We're hairdressers. So we work hard 24/7. We work harder now, right? But we are struggling. 70% of salons close their doors between the first year to the 7th year. Stylists come out of cosmetology schools, and a small amount of them create a career in the beauty industry. And we make so much money in this industry. Money is magnetic, comes to us. We can be so extraordinarily successful, but yet, why do we choose not to be successful? And what can we do to be successful?
Well, that's a huge question and a huge subject. You first of all got to be really clear about what your goals are in your life. And I always say you've got to reverse your career into your lifestyle. So you have to decide what kind of lifestyle you want and how hard you want to work to afford that lifestyle. And are you working 3 days a week, 5 days a week, 7 days a week? And where do you want to live within the world of hairdressing? Because there are but all the people that I know who are highly successful, they have a couple of things in common. They have a passion for what they do, and they work incredibly hard. They're not just sitting around and things just fall in their lap. But the fascinating thing about when you see a master work, they make it look very easy because they're so practiced. And what you see, what they bring to the table are the results of what you didn't see, which happened behind closed doors. Wow. So, for example, when I do a photo shoot, and other amazing hairdressers do photo shoots, you see these gorgeous images, but what you don't see is how hard they worked to create those images. So I think there's a little bit of a myth to what success looks like and the hard work that is required of any occupation if you want to be really good. sometimes I feel that fear gets in the way. And I always say, feed your faith and starve your fear, because, fear can be a barrier to opening doors of opportunity. Well, I won't do that because it may not work, or I won't do that because, and, you have to, in our business, be able to measure your success, because if you don't have a way to measure your success, you can't measure your growth. And I think that they all kind of roll in together. So yes, some people come out of school maybe not well prepared for what this industry can be. It's highly competitive. And, I always say you've got to work for the best of the best if you want to be the best. And I believe that greatness comes with working with a team. You may go faster alone, but you won't go further alone. If you look at some of the most amazing businesses, they are not just a group of people. They are a team that work together and have an amazing culture. So there's a unity in their culture that drives them forwards.
I love that. One of the things that you just made me think about, and being older right now, just a little bit older than what I was a couple years ago. What are the things that I'm thinking, as somebody fresh who's young, right, and comes out of school the first 2 years, you just want to be busy. You just want to get confidence, right? And at that time, you don't think about that you can make it big. You don't think about, I'm looking at the wall behind you, right? I'm looking at how gorgeous it is, and all of the accolades behind you, and your work, it's just, you're afraid to think that you can be that, you can be you, that you
But today, that's limited thinking, and I'd like to shift to positive thinking, because if somebody's been told, then there's what you believe and what you want, and if you don't believe in what you want, you won't get what you want, because you will always get what you believe in. So whatever goals you have, if you say, well, I want that, but it probably won't happen, you end up with zero. But if you set a goal and say, I'm going to go for it, I believe in it, and you feel it, you visualize it, you write about it, you dream about it, and you go and study the people who are doing it. And if you can assist the people who are doing it, you get to see what it took to do that, which is why an apprenticeship program is amazing. Interning is amazing. When I used to do my workshops, my live workshops, before we were not allowed to do them anymore, I had interns, and rather than me always using my team, I decided to reach out to the community. So for example, in my Facebook group, when we do go back into doing live events again, I will be posting for interns. So those interns come into my space, and I have no idea who the people are. And it's a fascinating way for me to sort of see what's out there in the big wide world, so that I'm not in my cocoon. And it's a wonderful opportunity for that person to come and assist and learn and shadow me and be able to ask questions. So it's something that I really believe in. But there's a power in assisting, and a great assistant's worth their weight in gold.
Absolutely. Now, but talking about that, all these years that you've always been in the innovation part, and the play, and touching and experimenting, and of course, I'm sure there has been so many times where you're so frustrated and it's not working, and the same thing happens when if you're a stylist in a salon, and you have a bride coming in, and you trying to help her, and it doesn't work, so immediately you think, okay, this is way too hard, I cannot do it, I'm not going to go into brides, which for a long time, Vivienne, that's how I was as a stylist, right? But it was always my drive and my passion. I wanted to conquer and learn how to build hair, how to dress hair, how to not be afraid of that. And so learning is probably the best way, and implementing it.
Well, yeah, because if you spend your time just looking at YouTube videos or Instagram, which are great resources for gathering ideas and just sort of it's accidental learning, because you never know what you're going to fall upon, and you can sometimes fall upon some great things, and other times you can waste hours seeing good, bad, and ugly, and not finding what you really are looking for. So I think there has to be intention, and any other profession wouldn't foolishly go out there to a client not prepared. So therefore, you shouldn't be doing brides unless you have studied the art of hairdressing, so that you literally set yourself up to be successful because you've studied it. And with all the knowledge that I have about the different techniques that there are out there, still I can be caught with like, wow, this is not easy. Yeah. And, it depends what level you want to play at. So I think it's, you've got to have a plan and then work the plan. And you have to have a structure to your learning, because it's a very competitive market, and it's being relevant and it's being current. And therefore you've got to constantly upgrade. So I would say, if anything else, design a lifestyle where you are a lifelong learner, so you find it joyful to learn, you find it exciting to learn. And if you watch the lives that I'm doing on Facebook with my hair heroes, you will genuinely see the joy I have when I have the guests that I have who are iconic hairdressers, and they're teaching me something, and I get this incredible joy because I'm learning something new. And it's just very, very exciting. So that message that I'm delivering is, I've been doing hair a long time, but I'm still hungry to learn. And that's what keeps you fresh and sweet.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be stale. You want to be, my question would be, what 3 things could you do differently this year from whatever you've done before? What 3 things could you do differently?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question to think. And if we could go to the slides, because I think that would be a really good time to kind of transition. If we could do split screen.
I'll move them around. So let me just go into that one. Here we go. Okay.
Okay. So this it kind of carries on from what you're saying, defining your identity, because every day behind our chair, we define somebody's identity. It's called a consultation, isn't it? So my question to you is, if we were to make a movie of your life, which actor would play you? Interesting question.
Very, very. So let me repeat that question. Which actor, would I play?
Yes. Yeah. No, which actor would, if we were going to make a movie of your life, who would be the actor that would play you?
I love that. That's a great question. I got to think about that. Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo. Yes, I'm thinking Audrey Hepburn, probably.
So when you think about Jay Leno and Audrey Hepburn, those are iconic women who are truly inspirational, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely.
And there's something about your personality and your desires and your goals that has a connection to their identity.
Yes.
So if you look at that as a role model, they can inspire on whatever levels you're identifying with, right?
Absolutely.
And then from there, they are magnified. So then how do you play that out in your life? Well, every client who sits in our chair has a story. They have their own movie. And you're part of that movie because you are creating a look that brings out their best. So that would be like the ultimate type of hairdresser that has far more value than someone who's asking, how many inches are we cutting off today? And is it just a touch up?
Oh, absolutely. So immediately you're connecting to me.
Absolutely.
I feel like a dream.
Yes, because, how do you make yourself be missed is my question.
How do I make myself missed? I don't want to be missed.
Right? Yeah, but for everybody, we should actually get people to start writing in the chat. What is it that your clients would most miss about you? Is obviously the hair service. But I do believe that while we're paid for obviously doing a hair service, your clients are paying you for how you think.
Absolutely.
So is it your charm? Is it your compassion? Is it your amazing listening skills? Is it a sense of peace and comfort? Is it like when they're in your presence, they just feel loved? What is it that they would miss if you weren't there? Because surely they can get an ombre anywhere.
Right.
Surely they can get a bob anywhere.
So how
surely
yeah.
the basics can be found anywhere, right? So what is it? It's a very powerful question to ask yourself, because we're going to go through a narrative right now, which is about increasing your value behind your chair and actually falling more in love with hairdressing. And while the outcome of this is higher retention and referrals, the outcome that's more interesting to me is how, when people follow this direction that I'm going to give you tonight, and it's also in my other material, is that they start to fall back in love with hairdressing, or more in love with hairdressing, because they're doing the right look on the right person and they're loving that journey. So I think that's a really powerful thing. Do you know that 97% of, excuse me, let me just go here, sorry. They were asking clients about consultations, and they were asking clients, excuse me, I'm going the wrong way for a second, sorry. They were asking stylists if they offered a consultation to their clients, and 97% said that they do offer a consultation to their clients, which is a very high number, wouldn't you say?
It is very high if this is for real, a consultation.
Yes. So 97% of stylists say they offer a consultation to their clients. The same question was asked of the clients, and this was the answer. 7% of clients said they are given a consultation by their stylist. That is a huge, huge difference. Wow. I put it to the test. I was in London. This is last year. I went to a very high profile salon, and I decided that I wanted to see if I got a great consultation. So I booked a blow dry.
Yeah.
And I won't go into the details of it because it's quite a long story, but I certainly did not get the consultation.
Yeah.
I was basically asked whether I'd like it straight or curly.
Right.
And that was it. There was nothing about why I would be spending over $100 on a blow dry with such short hair.
I know. Andreas just commented and says that they would miss the connection, how you make them feel.
Oh, yes.
So that's your question. That's
great.
Right. So you sometimes I crunch when I hear when a hairdresser says, "So, what do you want me to do for you today?"
Yes.
You know? It's like, who's sitting in the chair?
Yeah, precisely. And that's what we're going to go through tonight. So this lovely lady here reached out to me, 26 years in the business, the most lovely, lovely lady, Annie. She said she had lost her confidence and she'd lost the joy in her work. Now, you mentioned at the opening of this webinar that many people do not stick within the industry because I think they lose their confidence. And when you lose your confidence, how can you ever have joy? How can you have happiness if you are lacking confidence? That's a miserable thing. When you have confidence, which is only acquired by knowledge, then you start to have some sense of power. The client chooses to sit in your chair. She's in your chair, which means you are in control. But if you're not in the driver's seat and your hands are being dictated by somebody else, you're merely a puppet. And I don't know many puppets that really enjoy working. So I think it's all about getting that confidence. So Annie had lost her confidence. So I said to Annie, I don't want you to change anything technically. Keep doing exactly the same hair you've always done. But what I'd like for you to do is study the soft skills that I have on Hair Designer TV. I said, I want you to go through the entire course and let's reconnect 1 month later. This is what happened 1 month later. So how have your clients been responding to Annie?
My clients are so excited. And my business has tripled. It's incredible. Wow. They don't quite know who I am. They're like, wait a minute.
So Annie's business tripled and her clients didn't recognize who she was. So this is the course. It's called Who is Sitting in Your Chair? And one of the 3 videos that I'm giving to you is from this course, which is diving into the consultation and how you build the kind of brand and clients that you want to attract. I said that to understand the power of energy, when you put out that energy to the universe, it's not hocus pocus, it's a science of the energy field, of the intention to attract a certain type of client. And behind that intention is how you put yourself together, how you market yourself, how you brand yourself. There's clear intention around it. It's not an accident that those people show up. I had a young stylist who'd been in the business 35 years, only ever using a round brush when he was designing hair. And I said to him, you've got to start using a half round brush because, you know, there are whole different looks you can do with a half round brush that you can't do with a round brush. And so he said, I'll never use that brush. I said, trust me, when you master the brush, she will show up. And she did show up. Now, this,
Why is that?
well, listen to the story. This gentleman's salon was in Birmingham, Michigan. The lady who showed up was Anna Wintour, the editor-in-chief of American Vogue. And for those of you who don't know what she looks like, she has a bob, poker straight with a soft curve. She sat in his chair and she said, I want a Denman brush blow dry. She called the brush by the name.
Yeah, she knew
I
it.
do not want a flat iron and I do not want products. Can you do that blow dry? So he did. And he called me and said, wow, you said when I master the brush, you will show up. And I said, yes, I did. He said, but you didn't tell me it would be the editor-in-chief of American Vogue. So that's the power of intention when you do that. So what we're talking about tonight is creating a memorable experience, of course, and that has to be very personalized, but there has to be some kind of background behind it. So I've explored the science of the consultation, and I've looked at this narrative that I go through, that I've used on photo shoots, that I've used at fashion shows, and I've brought it into the salon world because we're creating the story of who is sitting in your chair. So my 3 principles here, take a screen capture of this because this is a powerful card, getting to know your client. It's so easy to assume an assumption can lead to an empty chair. Here are my first 3 tips as a person of great influence. Show how much you care, ask, listen, listen, listen. Show how much you can help. You are the solution to the problem because you are the expert and she is sitting in your chair. Prove that you can be trusted. You will deliver on your promise. And sometimes people have really great caring, a little wishy-washy on the help, and the trust, well, I'm sorry, it went a little shorter than I thought, or a little bit more gold than I thought. Or sometimes the trust is really strong, but the help wasn't that great, and they weren't that caring. I think we've all been to a doctor who was medically a genius, but had 0 bedside manner, right?
Right.
So it's getting all 3 and expressing 3, because some people could say, I care. Well, it's like, well, why don't you show it? You know, why don't you smile? Why don't you listen? Right. So these are my 3 benchmarks for where I like to go in the consultation. The other thing I want to talk to you about tonight is how to develop that great sense of style, because can style be taught? And I believe it can be. Intuition. When you have a client sitting in your chair and you go, I know that this will be wrong to take her short, or I know that going short is the thing to do. My intuition tells me. And so many times we don't trust our intuition, but our intuition is a much higher level of intelligence than sometimes the nonsense that's going on.
Absolutely.
So this is the consultation form that we use, and we're going to go through it tonight. And I give this to the guest before, it's given to the guest before I see her. That way she can quietly sit down, go through the consultation, and the questionnaire allows you time to think. You can go at your own pace without feeling the pressure or intimidated by the stylist. And there are questions on here that are very, very awkward to ask, but they're not awkward when asked in a format. So what we have here is the first question: why did you leave your last hairstylist or colorist? Well, obviously, if someone is new sitting in your chair, wouldn't you like to know why they're sitting in your chair? This is not an easy question to ask, and it's certainly not an icebreaker, but in a form, it's very easy to ask. So the next thing I look at is how comfortable are they with their current look? How open are they to change? So that tells me whether they are happy where they are or whether they're ready for something new. The next thing we look at is lifestyle, which is time and money. How much time will you spend on your hair? How often can you come into the salon? And this most uncomfortable question to talk about is money. What can you afford? And I think this is the most elegant way of asking this question. Budget. What role does budget play in choosing your salon services and frequency of visit? Not important, somewhat important, very important. So immediately I know from the beginning of this form that maybe the client left the person because they cut the hair too short, or they didn't have a consultation, or they felt hurried. And if I see that type of language, I would clearly know I must give her more time, or I must be mindful not to cut the hair too short because the last person made that mistake. I don't want to make the same mistake. I immediately know how much time and money, their priorities of where they spend their time and where they spend their money. Because at the end of the day, if I was to look at your checkbook and look at your diary, I would know what's important in your life because that's where you spend your time and your money. So there's no point in suggesting something that's high maintenance to a low maintenance client. So the next thing I go through, which is we're going to dive into this a little bit more, I go into the fashion. I want to know that. I want to know about their personality. So I'm not going to ask somebody, well, are you introvert or extrovert? Well, obviously, we're very good at people watching and we're very good at body language observation. But I would not feel comfortable to say, well, are you an extrovert? No. But in a form, one can ask it because then I will know how quiet to make the color, how big to make the color, how big to make the blow dry, because it's based on personality. The next thing that I would never ask you in person, but it works on a form, is how sensual you'd like to be. Now, obviously, this is a form designed for women, but I would need to know whether you want to be romantic or soft. These are things that are very, very important. So as I go through this form, we look at body, bone structure and body type. We look at the hair texture. Of course, we ask for photographs, and they're just merely a reference. And generally, the person in that photograph is not the person who's sitting in your chair. So I want to design and custom design to who is actually sitting in my chair. So taking that form, and we're going to come back to it because we're going to take you through the consultation tonight, aren't we? These are my 3 wheels of fashion. So I need to know whether the hairstyle is going to whisper, scream, or shout. I need to know whether the fashion is classic, trendy, or edgy. And I need to know whether the hairstyle is going to be boyish, feminine. And these are my 3 wheels, which are answered by the form. So when you look at this image here, where would you say that she lives? Would you say she's a whisper, scream, or shout?
I think she would be in the definitely shout.
Okay. So depending on where one is in the marketplace, if she was to be in some very progressive part of London, she could be even considered a whisper because there could be people more outrageous than her. But if she's in a very conservative area, then this could be screaming. So a lot of it has to do with the demographic of where she's living. But to make this whisper, what would you do? How would you change the color to make this a whisper?
I would probably tone it down, maybe take her into multi-dimension of honey, golds, just completely soften the look. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. But she'd still be a blonde. So just imagine you haven't read the client correctly. And now she's starting to ooch and ouch because it's brighter and bolder than her personality allows. The next thing is, where would you say that this lovely lady is within this wheel?
Well, I think she would be totally trendy.
Yes, she's very trendy. The curl, the texture is very, very hot. So what if she wanted to be more classic? The curl went too tight. The curl needs to be softer. What if she wants to be edgy? It's not enough. So therefore, it's a wheel that you turn up and you turn down according to who's sitting in your chair. So this one's pretty obvious. So where would you say she is?
I would totally say she's sexy.
Absolutely. She's very, very sexy, but not everyone's comfortable to be sexy. So again, it's the read. So now when we look at this beautiful young lady, do you think it was easy to talk her into cutting off all of her hair?
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. So the whole conversation started off with the consultation form. Which one out of these three wheels do you feel she was leaning more to? Because when we look at these wheels of personality, I want my personality to be my identity. I want my fashion to be my identity. I want my sensuality to be my identity. Sometimes they evenly split between the three, but very often there's one that's predominant. Which wheel do you think was predominant for her?
Well, based on the consultation that we just went through, I would say she probably, the way she looks with the long hair and her attitude in the picture, I totally think she's looking sexy and beautiful and feminist. Where the one with the short hair on the right, she's more less shouty. She's more softer. She's more, blended.
Yeah, so the big thing that was important to this beautiful lady was that she wanted to be sexy. So based on that, the narrative was about, well, this will be much more sensual. It'll be much more feminine. It'll be very sexy. That was the narrative. It wasn't about, well, it'll be this length. It'll be this length. I needed to get buy-in at this level first for her to feel comfortable to have her hair cut off. And that was a lot of hair she gave up. Then underneath the sexy aspect was that she was concerned that her face was looking longer because the elongation of the hair is lengthening the face. The next thing is to look fresh, to look as youthful as possible. So again, in this particular case, the hair is aging as opposed to being youthful. So it wasn't about cutting off the hair. If I had spoken in inches, she would still be walking around with long hair. I didn't speak through that. I didn't speak technique. I started off at the very beginning of this saying to you, I come from a very strong technical background. And the technique, as you're going to see as we go through this presentation, is actually the last thing on my list, because the next thing, after I've gone through my three wheels, the next thing is I look at face shape. So out of 1, 2, and 3, which one do you like the least?
Oh, 1.
And let's get some feedback from our friends in the chat room. Which one do they not like?
They don't like?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which one do they like the least?
Well, we'll see. Anybody? No comments on the chat yet, but what do I do not like? Oh, Bill says number 1.
Okay. So the reason I've asked thousands and thousands of people this, and everyone always says number 1, and it's pretty obvious. The volume of the hair is at the volume of the face, which makes the head shape look very narrow and almost like a peanut shape. So therefore, this beautiful young lady, it's not bringing out her features the way it should. So which one is your favorite?
For me, it's 3. I love 3.
So then with 3, all the volume is on the top, and then the face looks slimmer below. And even number 2, you can see that the face looks much slimmer because all the volume is sitting at the top. So what is very common? A client sits in your chair, she says, oh, my face is fat. Or she'll say, oh, I hate my full cheeks. Well, very often she said, I can't wear my hair short because my face is fat. But clearly the longer hairstyle, because it's not balanced to the face shape, actually does not help the face shape. It's actually distraction. So therefore, my next focus when I'm working with my client is to design to their face shape. And my goal is to create oval. And when you oval out the face, you always get more beauty. So now when we look at these profiles from 1, 2, and 3, which one do you like which one do you like actually?
Out of all these 3?
Yes.
I would say 3.
Yes. So what's fascinating is that number 1, even though the ponytail is lovely and high, and I love a high ponytail, you can see it emphasizes the chin. When you look at number 2, you can see that the chin is still pronounced and is in front of the forehead, and the neck looks very thick and stocky because the ponytail is sitting low. In number 3, and this is not about doing a perfect ponytail, this was just an illustration of designing to face shape and designing to that beautiful profile.
Yeah.
So in number 3, you can see a little bit of a scruffiness at the crown.
Right.
The ponytail is lifted to be a line that flows through from the jawline and it angles up. The fringe is draped in such a way to build the forehead out, because the forehead recesses. So when you build the forehead out, it gives the illusion of the chin being straight. So my goal for a profile is to create a straight profile.
That's
So
amazing.
immediately, remember, I'm still not talking about technique.
No.
Now the technique comes in. So my protocol is, number one, I use my form. Number two, I use the 3 wheels of fashion. I then study face shape. My final conversation is then about the technique.
Yes, yeah. I just wanted to respond here to Andy. They all agree that 3 is definitely has been the nicest one. I'm glad you figured out, Kimberly, your apple. That's great. But yes, it's amazing. And this is not even a technique, Vivienne. I mean, how do you see it? I mean, in your eyes, you've seen it you've been practicing your eyes for years. What's the best way to look at those, look at face shape and recognize what you're sharing with us?
Well, first of all, so on my website, I go into the in-depth about an introvert personality and extrovert personality, and I discuss and I show examples of the wheel. In the fashion, I dive into it. The sensuality, I dive into it in a very deep way. My face shapes, I must have about 8 videos just on face shape. How you change the face shape with a parting, how you change the face shape by tucking the hair behind the ear, how you move hair around to see the shape. It's training your eye. So this is not just a study. Tonight, when people take advantage of the offer that I'm giving to you, they will get to see the consultation in a much, much deeper way. But this is my protocol, and it gives me an amazing result, because first of all, I need to connect with a human being first. And I need to then evaluate, how do I balance the face? Then the technique becomes how I'm going to support that. But if I just start talking about layers or color or just somebody else's photograph on Instagram, that's not them. I haven't discovered who their identity is, and I haven't discovered their story. When you connect to their story, and when you connect to who that person is, they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel understood. That's how you start to build trust. And then with good taste, when you then design, because you've got a strong technical background, you know the right technique to pair with that person. And that's what the game changer is. So for my friends, Who's Sitting in Your Chair is a soft skill program on Hair Designer TV. So please do check it out, because there's lots of really great tutorials there that you can see. So let's carry on with this, because with this lovely lady here, you can see that she's got a pretty soft shag. So let's just look at the sensuality of this. How sensual would you say this is out of 10?
Oh, I would say she's a 10.
Okay.
Well, I think she's a 10 to me, but you could totally get, yeah.
Okay, so then what about when it's scruffy?
Oh, that's a 20.
There's a 20.
She's a 20
Okay.
now.
Okay, so now what about this?
Oh, wow, that's amazing. She's more than just sexy. She's just beautiful.
There's a sensuality here, though, isn't there?
Absolutely.
But what about this?
Oh, fun. That's just also more fun.
Yeah, but it's not as sensual, is it? It's harder.
No. It is edgier for sure.
Yes. Now, what about this? Retro.
Oh, totally. Gorgeous. Totally retro.
Now, what about this?
Which one? Same. Oh, wow. Very, very romantic. Very soft. Beautiful.
So this is the same girl.
Amazing.
And it's the same technique of a razor haircut with short internal layers, with a scruffy, soft perimeter, with a fringe, with a curtain fringe, but it's the same girl. But the girl who shows up rock and roll is really different from the girl who shows up a little bit more bohemian. And the one with the short, sort of scruffy little shag haircut is very, very, very different from the retro. So while the technique is the same, the fashion is really different.
Yeah.
So that's the big learn here. That's why those 3 wheels of fashion, I've used them on photo shoots. I've used them everywhere because it's the character of who she is. And it's capturing that, because when you capture that and you design to the face shape, you can do a really average haircut and you'll be more successful than someone who does a genius haircut on
Absolutely.
the wrong person. And that is where the game changes. I have a course on Hair Designer TV called One Girl, 7 Looks.
I
So you
love that one.
see here how she morphs. So when you look at all these different images, you can see that she goes from very sophisticated to very playful to very sexy to much more serious. So she has a range of different looks, which makes it so powerful. And this is the most amazing thing as you go through this journey. So, who do you dress for? The men in your life, the women in your life, yourself, or all 3? And I think that's another important part of understanding, who does that woman really dress for? Because your style, your choice that you make is going to either attract certain type of people or repel. And I think when you clearly understand identity and the story, then you become so much more valuable, because they're paying for you for how you think, because you're so well trained in this area. So as I mentioned before, there's this video here where you can sign up and get a free tutorial, and it's part of a course, but at least you can whet your appetite to see if this is something that's a good fit and will help you. The ponytail collection is something I just launched, and I just want to show it to you because it's really a beautiful story, and I think you'll really enjoy this. So the ponytail collection is a journey through these beautiful silhouettes. So again, you can see from very, very chic and very sophisticated to kind of rock and roll bohemian, very, very beautiful ponytails.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, so do check them out because they're on Hair Designer TV, and I think you'll enjoy them. And again, this is where my tutorial is in terms of Facebook, where you can actually go and see tutorials and so on and so forth. And this is our consultation. So we said we just finish off tonight by me giving you the consultation, right?
Thank you so much. I love that, to have a consultation. But before that, I just want to ask you one thing is in today's world, where the consultation obviously needs to be taken really serious of time. What do you suggest? And would you agree that we can do something like this virtually and charge for virtual consultation?
Oh, absolutely.
Really amplify that.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Absolutely, you can. There's no doubt about it. Yes, that's definitely amazing to be able to do that. So let's do your consultation.
Let's do it. Okay.
Has this been helpful, first of all? Have your friends found what we've been discussing tonight value?
Scott just said this was amazing. And Bill loves the fact that there's so many options to give to one person. If you're able to do so many transformations, it's really is quite what a vocabulary.
Yes. So, okay, when we look at the 3 wheels of fashion, let's start there.
Okay.
Do you whisper, scream, or shout?
I shout.
Okay. And then in terms of fashion, where would you say you live in fashion?
I'm a mix between Audrey and Grace Kelly.
Okay, so would you say you're classic or trendy or edgy?
I would say I'm trendy.
You're trendy. Okay. And then the sensuality, where would you say you are there?
Between 1 till 10.
Well, are you sexy, boyish, girly, cute, feminine?
I would say feminine.
Feminine. Okay. All right. So if I was to give you a hairstyle that was quite strong in its style, that had a trendiness to it,
Yeah.
that was feminine, would we be onto a good beginning?
Good beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now let me just do it wrong.
Okay.
How about if I do something to you that's very, very quiet, very, very quiet, very, very classic. And it's got a sort of a toughness to it, maybe a little bit boyish. How would you feel about that?
Very wrong.
Yes. Now, how did you feel in your body?
Heavy.
Your whole body language closed down. You went like this.
It was just limiting.
Yes. But what if that's what I thought that you should have? Would you be comfortable?
No, I wouldn't.
No, and rightly so. Okay. So then if I go back to, you don't want to be 7 shades of gray. You'd like to have something that makes a statement. You're wearing glasses that are very bold, first of all. So there's a very strong statement. You want to feel current, trendy.
Yeah.
And you'd like it to be feminine. So there needs to be some softness.
That's the Gemini in me. I want this and I want that and put it all together.
Yes. Okay. Now you've got gorgeous curly hair, stunning curly hair. Now, if you don't mind just taking off your glasses, and can you pull your hair away from your face for me for a moment? Because I just need to see your face shape. So pull it right away. Okay. And just square to straight onto the camera. That's it. And then just take it back. No, we're not done yet. Off your face. That's it. Just keep there like that. And no smile for a second, please. Okay. So therefore, what I see right now is that there's a ratio that I use, and the ratio is 1, 2, 3, and the neck becomes the 4th. So these should be equally balanced. Okay, so that's the first thing I look at, the balance. And it would look, from me looking at you right now, that this little ratio here is shorter, and that this part here and this part here are longer. And what appears to be the longest part is in your jawline, right? That's what I see. Just turn profile for me so I can see your profile. Okay, so you have a convex profile. The forehead lies behind the chin. The forehead lies behind the chin. Okay, so swing back to me. Right. Now then, what I want you to do is take your hair up as though you're putting it up like this. Okay. Wow, that looks really lovely. Okay, now I'd like for you to bring some hair across your forehead. Just on one side, not the center parting. Just can you move it over a little bit to the side, if it will go? No, it won't go. Okay, can you just bring some hair forward a little tiny bit? And then take it up again here. Okay, all right. Oh, that looks really cute. Really cute. Really cute. All right.
Now, just so you know, I have no glasses. I see nothing.
Oh, okay, all right.
Blindness.
And so you always wear you always wear your glasses?
No, just when I need to see you.
Okay. But do you usually wear glasses? Do you usually wear glasses as big as these glasses, or do you have a collection of glasses?
I do have collection of glasses.
Okay. All right. Okay. You can drop your hair down. So from a face shape perspective, we have a narrower ratio through here, and we have also your head that pitches a little bit smaller through here.
Yeah.
And when you take your hair up, it looks actually quite sensational when it all goes up, and especially if you have hair coming across your forehead, because any hair coming across there is really nice. One of the things that I would avoid would be a center parting, because center parting,
it's all here.
Yeah, which is actually just draws attention to the center of the face. I would want to see more of the attention going to your eyes and your cheekbones, not to the center. So that will be the first thing I would do. So in me talking to you about your face shape and styles, the first thing that I would give you 3 options. I would start with the most conservative first, which would be, first of all, I need to ask you, do you actually wear your hair straight and curly? Do you go both ways?
I do. I love it straight and I love it curly.
Okay. So I would, if you're going to keep your hair longer, I'm very careful about layers, short layers in curly hair, because it just expands so much. So I would be taking your hair around about this length, and I would want your layers to get a little bit longer. Now you could have a little bit of a debulk, a tiny, tiny debulk, but just to keep it longer through there. And I would give you a side parting, and I would actually try and do it so that maybe it's tucked and more around. So I give you a symmetry. So that would be the longest I would do your hair.
Okay.
The second one, which would be very adorable, would be actually taking your hair up into a bob. So it's almost like a one of the girls from the Charlie Chaplin era of those gorgeous bobs that they wore. And I think that would be also really, really gorgeous. And it would be like a little graduated bob.
Okay, yeah. I wore it before I graduated, but I loved it.
Yeah, and then the one that would be my favorite would be short through here, short and layered like a pixie, but with a longer front. So you've got this longer front that comes across, which would be great because you could make the front straight or you could make it curly and it would be asymmetric. And that would be very playful and very flirty. For the color, it's hard to see in this light exactly what your hair color is.
It's usually a little bit darker than yours, more red. So yeah, very red.
And I like that idea. Maybe if the hair's going to be longer, a little shadow through here may be quite nice.
Okay.
But maybe a bit more of a pop through here, just a small piece that has a little bit of pop. And of course, focusing tremendously on condition and treatments.
Absolutely.
So I would give you those three options. But my favorite one, I love it when your hair's taken off of your face. Off of here. I love that. When it's all lifted up.
So I would be a perfect candidate for the ponytail story.
Yes. Yes. And now then, if you were conservative about having their hair cut because you've got great hair, then I would start to talk to you about, let's do some ponytails. Let's have some fun with some ponytails and let me show you how you can do some really sweet things, because you do look great with your hair up, lifting this area here and building, because what it does is your head is narrowly pitched. So when you build this up, it just is a really nice balance. And then disguising that this ratio is a little shorter, just bringing something across makes it much more interesting.
I know, it's so funny. Bill loves when I pull my hair up. He really does love it. So, I do too. But, just so you know, I literally cut this much off, like 6 inches.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to do it. And I love this. I feel so important, Vivienne, that you're taking your time with me and just giving me so many things I never even thought before. It just means so much.
But you see, the first thing to capture is your essence of your bubbly personality, fun with fashion, and feeling feminine.
Yes.
And then talking about rebalancing the face to try and create the straight profile on the oval, because that increases the beauty factor. And anytime you do that, every face needs a little correction here or there, because you're either emphasizing or disguising, and no sides of the face are the same. So therefore, where you put that parting is really important. So when you split this way, you put all of the focus on nose and mouth, and you show off if the face is even or uneven. You show that off. And what you do is you crowd in through here. So you close down the cheekbones and put the emphasis here and here. Now, because you've got gorgeous curly hair, it's probably easier to manage with a center parting because, it's evenly balanced on both sides. But when you go asymmetric, you start to open the face out, on a diagonal line, and you can either take away from the center of the face and start to play more with cheekbone and more with eye and make the eye pop. So those are things you want to kind of play with and play around with the parting and just be creative. But softness around your face is much more flattering than pulling it all back.
So softening, you mean like layering the hair or just
here, like this area here, because you have your face from this way is convex. So your forehead lives behind your chin.
Got it. Okay.
So therefore, when you build that area, you then start to bring the face out because what's happening is it's going this way. So you balance. And that's very, very, very important to get that balance, because then when people hide behind their hair, they're trying to either close off, they don't like their profile, they don't like their jowl, they don't like their neck, they're closing down. So you have to figure out that closing down, is it actually helping them or hurting them?
Yeah, like balancing it even more so.
Yes.
I usually blow out my hair like right here a little bit and give it a little bit more of an oof. I love that. Yeah.
So that's my consultation.
That's amazing. And everybody here just saying that they love the consultation. I really do feel that, we have to take our hairdressing into more of a serious way of doing things. And now, more than anything, you can do these virtual consultations. And why not? Why not?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's also right now very difficult to speak through a mask, and I think conversations should be kept to a minimal because it's exhausting. So therefore, if you can give the client the form beforehand, she can be, on your website, she can fill it out when she comes in. At least then you can have that conversation, and then you become the translator. Now, this requires training. I just don't give this form to anybody. You have to be trained on how to use it so that you interpret it, and like when I said to you about going softer and doing something quieter, I shifted my voice, I shifted my energy. Yeah. And when we talked about being more vibrant, I bring my energy up. So I understand the power of energy and the power of taking it down. I think that'd be really lovely. We'll do something so soft and so quiet, you'll be so invisible. No one will even know you're here.
Yeah. And it's so true. The minute you talk to me, I'm like, yeah, I don't want that right now. I don't want that. And then when you said like, well, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't feel good about this at all. I just, yeah, no, it's so funny. It's so true. You do learn to become very confident in your consultation. And I think just like Amy Cuddy, says that you fake it until you become it. You just have to fake it. If you don't have the confidence to give a good consultation, just fake it until you become it with the right knowledge, with the right tools. And, it doesn't happen every day that somebody is giving you a great tools. And really all you need to do is just look at the script and ask these questions, right? And always start with, is there a magic question to start the conversation?
But the thing is that this is a script, but it's given in care and compassion, because we're caring for who you are and where you live, and it's respect. And you know what the most amazing thing about this is? When you get the 3 wheels of fashion and the face shape right, it takes so much pressure off of you from a technical aspect, because you are, whether you're doing just a layered bob, you could do 20 layered bobs. I showed you a shag and I showed you 7 different looks without one shag. But it was exactly the same technique.
Amazing.
You can adapt it so that the person loves it, because who cares if you do this genius color and this genius haircut, but it doesn't fit her personality. I'm designing from the inside out. Yeah. And all the designers I've worked with, they will talk in the narrative of, the quietness or the loudness of the fashion, where that fashion lives, what decade that is inspired by, and where that woman shows up in her drama, in her softness, in her meekness, in her girliness. They see the narrative is big. Yeah. And therefore the hairdresser and the makeup artist have a place to park to understand part of the storytelling. So this is the world in photography, in creating beautiful images, that I've brought what I've learned from working with fashion designers and photographers and fashion stylists into a very practical way of our clients. Because today we have this, and today we can take a picture, and today that photograph is everywhere. And years ago, when we had photographs taken, it was on our holiday or Christmas or special events. We weren't taking pictures every day. Nobody knew what their good side and bad side was. But today we're all publishing. So therefore, because our work is being published, we should start thinking like somebody works in fashion, because we're part of fashion.
Well, I think that when a woman leaves a salon, she needs to feel beautiful. She needs to feel confident. You need to leave your mark. Like you said at the beginning, you said, how are you going to be missed?
Yes.
So you want to be missed, and Andy said that. You want to feel that, you made a transformation and impacted somebody's life right now. You
Yes.
make them feel that amazing that she feels beautiful. She feels, and then when she goes home, and here's something I've learned, Vivienne, and you'll agree with me. When you go home, you tell your client, you said, listen, we did you tell your guests, we did a big change here. So when you go home, you walk with your nose up and you're going to say, I love what I love it. And then everybody around you would love exactly what you see. Instead of saying, oh, I'm not so sure. What do you think? What do you think? Then everybody around you is not going to be cool. So you got to rock it. You got to walk the runway with that new transformation. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. But when you genuinely have hit that sweet spot, it naturally happens because people enjoy how they feel. They feel liberated. It's like wearing a new dress. They feel super excited. So I think, it's one thing to listen. It's another thing to interpret and know. It is important to know when to say yes as it is to say no.
Yeah.
And to be able to say, I think that's a great idea, but that's not right for you. Or I think that's a wonderful idea. I love the photo reference, but I think that this will be more appropriate. Let me design to you because only you are sitting in my chair.
Yeah. And when you come, and I agree, because when you come with a consultative attitude and you come with a culture of, I am the expert here and I would love to make you look beautiful, then they look for that. And that's your mark. Well,
yeah, and I think if it's done in a way of caring rather than intimidation,
right.
It's how we, when you have knowledge, you don't need to wield the sword. Yeah. You can just be some of the most confident people are the quietest people, actually. They don't need to show off or brag. They just meet the person where they are. And who is the star? It's the person who's sitting in your chair. And I think getting to find where they're comfortable, which is why I said, we are one of those professions that works backwards. We have an end result we're going to, but we have to work back. We have to reverse engineer the idea. She wants to end up here, but she's come in here. So we've got to go from, oh, you want this? Now let me reverse it all the way back. So when you don't see something, that requires faith. Now, if you, as I said earlier, you can feed your faith or starve your fear. So if you're frightened, you won't get there, you won't do it, and you'll quit the industry. So you have to have courage, but you have to know that you're putting the right look on the right person. Otherwise, it's futile. And just keep practicing. There's no escape from, knowledge gives you confidence.
Yeah.
And don't be foolish to say, well, I've been in the business a long time, I don't need that. And there's a lot of arrogance in our industry, and there's a lot of ego in our industry, which is most unattractive. I think it's probably the ugliest thing I see in a human being when there's this entitlement and there's this ego, because there's nothing pretty about it. And it's like, just drop it and just become a beautiful person, because, you want to be around
me for that.
And I'm talking about beautiful on the inside, a beautiful person on the inside. I've worked with some of the most beautiful women in the world. They haven't always been beautiful on the inside. Well, my judgment of beauty is what your essence is on the inside, because that's eternal. This is all going to change. This is going to go through its seasons, and we try and preserve it as best as we can. But the essence of your spirit, the essence of who you are, your integrity, your honor, your virtue, your character. That's what deems a beautiful person. And I like to be around that, and I like to put it out there to the universe and attract it back, because
I think that's profound, Vivienne. What you just said, it's, you got to listen to it. It's the essence of a human being that you're trying to bring to the world. And if you can only think about it, that person might have been keeping it inside for so long, and it's coming to sit in your chair, and that person wants to come out, and you're the only one who can help them come out.
Yeah, and it takes time for some people. Change comes from two places: inspiration or desperation. So you're going to have people coming that are inspired for change. They were sick and tired of being in their PJs for 3 months with a regrowth, and looking unkept, and they are dying for glamour and being fabulous. And then there'll be the people that really enjoyed being in their PJs for 3 months, and they enjoyed being like scruffy, and then they'll come to you and say, I just want wash and wear. I want low maintenance. I don't care that you can't blow dry. I want natural. So you better know how to work with natural texture and cut to the natural way. So I see the road dividing in two different places: the birth of natural in a whole new way, and then the birth of a new type of glamour. And on that, that's it. Finito.
Well, listen, I can keep going and listening to you. I mean, every more 5 minutes, I learn something completely new, which I looked at my questions and I feel like, oh my God, we covered more than just question, but we actually showed you and demonstrated a true consultation. And if this resonates with you, you have to go and subscribe to Hair Designer TV. Now, tell us about that program, because I feel that this is an essence for any salon owner, or even if you are solo, you have to have a constant education. And just before you say anything, Vivienne, because I know you're going to shed another completely light on that. What I've noticed in the past few years, because we have so much information, we have so much coming at us, what happened is we get the monkey mind, which let me have this education and this education and that education and this. And before you know it, we have one big salad. And that salad is not helping. One big salad, it might be tasty, but it is not helping. It is confusing. So while you're telling us, and would you agree with me, pick up something and stick to it. Just don't move. Just stick to it. Learn from one amazing education, and when you feel you have taken everything you need from that, then you can move on. Yes, so I recommend everybody to subscribe to Vivienne, because seriously,
yeah, I would say that anyone who's curious about really becoming world class in your own world, wherever you live in your own world, start off with who is sitting in your chair, because it opens the door to your creativity, your curiosity, your sense of style, and it will help you identify your brand so that you can be and attract the type of clients that you want. And it is not an accident that they show up. Trust me. It is, when you put intention around it, is extraordinary what will occur. Start there. And then ask yourself, what are the 3 things I'd like to change this year?
yes.
What are they? So that's number 1. I just gave you the gatekeeper.
Anybody here, why you guys commit to 3 changes? Becky, so good to see you. Tell us, what are the 3 things? And you guys know that I love the system of 3. So what are the 3 things that you are willing to, or want to change this year? I'm curious to know.
Yeah, and you know what? If you haven't delved into the art of dressing hair, take the ponytail course. It's a fabulous course. You're going to learn far more than ponytails, backcombing, pinning, face shape. There's a lot of information in there. And when you have a nice repertoire like that, all of a sudden other doors of opportunity open because you have the skill. Mm-hmm. And it kind of breaks away from some of the tedium of some of the stuff that we do on a regular basis. Yeah. If you've never worked with a razor, we're every Monday, and it's incredible what we're doing on these lives. Every Monday morning at 11 Eastern Standard Time, we're going through one girl, 7 looks. So we started with the long, and we're climbing up, and she'll end up with the pixie. My art team member takes one tool, I take the other. So you see us both demonstrating, for example, a long layered haircut. I do it with the scissors as a dry haircut, texturizing. Rosemary does it with the razor, and she does all this soft fluid movement. And then we switch the next week. So you're seeing the same haircut with the same sectioning with a totally different tool. And you see who's working harder, who gets there quicker, and you see the virtue of each tool. And so we're calling it the battle of the razor and the scissors. It's a dueling between them. And it has been such an education. Today I did a beveled bob today, and I did it all with thinning scissors. and Rosemary did it with the razor, and hers was better than mine.
Well, good. Then you know you're the best educator you can be. So how does that get? Do you get as everybody else gets a mannequin? And what's your favorite mannequin to work with?
Oh, it varies. I mean, I've got quite a few different ones. It's usually budget. As to I do like Pivot Point. They are lovely mannequins. They have very nice hair. So there's a range of them that I have. We're actually going to be starting virtual training. So I'm going to be starting virtual workshops, which will be starting in September. So you can come in and I'm literally watching you work. You're part of a class. Yeah. And I'm also doing private virtual training. So it can be just you and I together.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Or a semi-private. You get a friend and you do it together, or a salon. And so we're doing.
Wait. That's ridiculously brilliant, because let me tell you, my first experience with color, right, was Beth decided to do the same thing, but physically. So Beth Minardi, for all of you, you must know Beth Minardi. And for those of you who do not, she is the queen of color, right? Now, she decided she's going to do a 1 week with her as a shadow in her salon. And guess who signed up for the first one? That would be me. A week with her privately, I have learned. That put me on a higher map. So if anybody can take advantage of private virtual learning from Vivienne. Now, this is coming from Ronit, guys. This is coming from my heart. You must do that. Or do it in a group. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, so the information will be going up on our website within the next couple of days. So as I say, there's public, where you can join a public workshop. So individuals will come and sign up, or private, which means I just want to spend time with you. I want to work on a technique and I want your eyes focused on my work so that you can help me. As I say, we're doing private, virtual training and public workshops. They're different and they're coming at different price points. But there's tiers so that you can jump on the tier and do it from the comfort of your home, which is now what we understand very well.
Well, which is also so great for all the salons who have their team come back and the inspiration is not there. You're behind the mask. Maybe some people are actually, for everybody here, maybe some people are not really want to come back yet. So what if we had that education once a month or twice a month, and that inspired your staff? That inspired something completely different and completely new. I think that's just priceless.
Oh, it is. Actually, the first person who signed up, because I've actually done virtual trainings for about 4 years. This is not new, but I'm now going to be doing it in a bigger way. But the first person who signed up just last week, actually, lovely lady in Pakistan. And she was there in her home. It was 10 o'clock at night for her. And it was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad that it's so late, because I didn't realize she was that far overseas. A sweet lady, and I'm watching her and I'm making comments about her home because I can see it, of course. And I'm helping her go through some things where she was really stuck, and helped erase some of the challenges and got her out of her own way. So it was really marvelous. It was 2 hours and comfort of her home, and it was just a great experience, and got to find out what's going on there with the global situation, and just very, very interesting. So yes, and we should definitely do bathroom competitions and kitchen competitions to see who has the best kitchen.
You were telling me about this, how you guys had like a kitchen competition of who's making the best dish. I think that's lovely. Why not?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, a little surprise for everybody. I'm going to share screen. I don't think Vivienne, I've ever shown you this. So I'm going to share that with you. Okay, guys. And I'm going to share it with everybody here. Look at this. Does this look familiar?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yay! And then look at this.
Oh, yes. Wow. Yeah, that was in New York.
That was in New York. Yes.
At the, or was it Orbay?
Yes.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was, I can't believe you remember it because it was a little while ago, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes. Oh, that's so fun.
It was the best experience I had. It was a dream of mine for many years, and I finally, instead of giving my staff all the time, I just said, I'm taking myself out and I'm coming to see you. So that was amazing. Yeah, and Becky, totally. And Becky says Vivienne has been my favorite educator of choice during quarantine.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, thank you, Becky. Thank you.
Yeah, and
I hope you're well, and I hope you're safe.
yes, so they're all excited. I think everybody's here shows so much. I do want to say, thank you personally for being here and spending all this time. We've been here an hour and a half together. There's been really so much learning, everybody. So I guess we can end this
Yes.
on the best note ever and say that, again, you inspire me and you inspire everybody. Everybody, next week we're going to be with LaShawn, and LaShawn is going to be telling us not only how not to be afraid of money and how not to be afraid of asking for money and how much money is all around us, but how to multiply it as well. And so that's the business side of what we do. And it's time for us to dive into the confidence of having a value for what we do. So come visit me at Ronit's Coaching on Instagram and Ronit's Coaching on Facebook. If you have any questions and you have any recommendation and you want to hear or see anybody else, and go to Hair Designer TV and subscribe today. Because if you don't, I'm going to do it for my third time.
Thank you so much, Ronit. Thank you so much. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for spending some time with us tonight. I truly hope you found it valuable. And take care and be safe. And I just pray that soon we'll be out of these challenging situations and we will be stronger and even more amazing than before. So take care and God bless.
Thank you, Vivienne. It's been wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Good night. I'll see you next week.